Hello air-breathing humans.
According to Yahoo statistics, a lot of you who watch my videos and subscribe, so please subscribe, you will get a cookie.
As you know, in my last video I talked about old Roblox and how it's not factually better than modern Roblox as way too many people think it was. And as I expected, it triggered some amount of people. So before I get to specific comments that I'll respond to, I want to address the fact that a lot of people thought I'm new to Roblox and I joined in like 2020 or something. No, if you did the most minimal research ever and looked up my profile, you can see I joined in early 2014 and have been on Roblox for 7 years now. I also have a small nostalgia bias towards that time period. But you know what? I don't call it the best time ever. In fact, the best year for Roblox in my opinion would be 2017 or 2018. Those were my golden ages and I'm just being honest here. And last thing I do before I get to the comments is I want to address a mistake in the video where in the bowling game part I said you can't regen the pins even though you can. All these pins are one-time use. Once you knock them down they stay like this. They don't regenerate. I'm such a piece of
My opinion might be just very slightly biased, since I am a 2008er, but this video is just so wrong on a whole another level. Old Roblox was inferior in terms of the scripting building possibilities for sure, although some people, even the newer generation of players, still prefer it not because of nostalgic value, but because of the simplicity, unique charm, and clunky nature back then.
Yes, the simplicity. I also used to think old Roblox was better for its simplicity when I rode the hate trend for new Roblox, but once I started trying out old Roblox simulators I realized, man, this is so boring, and I still tried forcing myself to like it, and failed.
I really do appreciate the games currently made on the platform these days. However, please understand that Roblox used to be a completely different game back then and went through an evolution. Clone Troopers Emulation is not bad, but it's still far from truly accurate. You are still criticizing his game instead of the actual thing, which renders a lot of your points void. I have watched the entire video, and I'm disappointed with the little research and effort put into it.
The main point of the video was to show how much less fun I was having with old Roblox compared to new Roblox. I did indeed nitpick a few things that were different in other old Roblox simulators. For example, the trampoline not working in Thrillville. There's a trampoline in here which I guess is good, but it doesn't even work. It doesn't bounce you up high. I know that trampoline worked in the real game but not in Clone Troopers Recreation. But if it randomly worked, that wouldn't make the game absolutely amazing. All of the sudden that doesn't render any of my points void. The game is boring and still would be if it was completely accurate.
For the most part it just sounds like complaining, but in reality you are pretty much just bad at the game. And it shows.
What they're talking about here is my gameplay in Dodge the Teapots of Doom and sword fights on the heights. Their point is that the games aren't bad, it's just I'm bad at them. But is that entirely true? Let's look at what's going on behind the scenes. What I showed in the video itself is my frustrating and annoying parts that I could complain about. For Dodge the Teapots of Doom I don't really have footage of this, but literally the day after of that I played that game again and I beat a level 7 in like 3 tries. So does that mean I magically became a pro? No, the game is very luck based and annoying. I played exactly the same way I always played it. And for sword fights on the heights, was I really just bad and kept getting destroyed? Of course the only parts I included were me dying or something. I used 2 separate recordings for that part. In the first recording I had 12 kills and 12 deaths, which is 1 kill to death ratio, which isn't bad. On the second recording I got 72 kills and 39 deaths, which is nearly 2 kill to death ratio. So was I really just bad at these games? No, that wasn't the point. Never look at only one side of the story.
Idiot. If you don't like the controls, that means you're not used to it. I'm a 2009er and playing SNZ was fun.
Now what they're talking about is the Doomspire brick battle part. There was a part where I complained about the order of the tools and the fact that the sword was on the 5th slot. Of course I'm not used to it. Literally no one is used to it. Every single normal game puts your primary weapon on the 1st slot, not nearly the last. It's unnecessary to expect everyone to reach 5 with these in an intense situation where you have to quickly react. Now I agree with some of the things this person said, so I'll point that out when I reach it.
I have to disagree with this video, but not entirely. I joined in 2010, so I only caught the tail end of the old Roblox era, but here's that I think is better and worse about new and old Roblox. Things old Roblox was better at: better community. Roblox had a much smaller community, and smaller communities tend to be tighter knit, so this one is a given.
So at first they point out how the old Roblox community was better. We'll get to that in a second.
Better art style. Ironically, the restrictions of old Roblox gave every game a uniform and charming art style.
I would take this over this any day, but then again the art style is extremely subjective.
Avatar customization. Kind of. It was much more restrictive back then. However, ironically that led to more creative avatars.
I don't entirely know what you mean by that. There is nothing the old Roblox avatar customization could do that the new one can't, but there's definitely very many things the new Roblox avatar customization can do that the old one can't.
Catalog. Ticks meant more items you could get for free, and limiteds were worth less, so it was cheaper to buy one you wanted.
This one I kind of agree with, but then again you have to remember how badly tickets were abused with.
Site layout. Just an opinion, but the old site layout was much more appealing.
This one is extremely subjective and there isn't much I can just say to, so let's move on.
Better logo. Not an overly generic logo like now. Builders Club, not as generic as Premium. Better events. I miss Roblox made events, Egg Hunt, Gift Explosion, Blockstopper, etc. One part of this I really wish would come back is building contests. Those were some of the coolest events ever.
I fully agree with the last three. The logo was better and more iconic. The premium change doesn't affect us in any way, but calling it Builders Club was more unique, and I also do miss the older egg hunts and other events.
I think it's just the community that made it better.
I see this one a lot. I think it's a bit weird to define the Roblox community as a whole. Roblox is technically a platform and not a game itself. Every single Roblox game has their own community and they're vastly different. The Arsenal community is nothing like the Royale High community. Though of course Roblox back then was way smaller and smaller communities tend to be better. But I don't think you can define the Roblox community as a whole, it's very divided.
But some of the games were actually pretty good back then, considering the means of knowledge and technology that time. Those games were just not included.
Super Nostalgia Zone features the most popular and best old Roblox games at the time. So if you think there's some games that are really good that weren't featured, I'd like you to name them so I can check them out.
Obviously the gameplay is more innovative and is better overall, but the community used to not be just online dating and the terrible community now. In my opinion, it was so much better because of the community and it wasn't a cash grab.
I don't know where this premise that online dating was never an issue until now came from. Online dating always existed in Roblox and always will. I think most people go through their online dating phase, especially at a young age. In my case it specifically wasn't in Roblox though.
I genuinely felt like the past version of Roblox was somewhat better. Avatars were original.
With today's avatar customization, I've seen really creative and original avatars before, and pretending those don't exist by only focusing on the unoriginal stereotypical ones is a bit unfair.
The community was much nicer. There were many more original game ideas. There are many newer games that are certainly amazing, but now it's just a cesspool of edgy users and aesthetic people. Avatars get extremely repetitive and the front page is all overused types of games.
Regarding the community one, I already addressed and I won't be repeating that again. I think there surely were some original games back then, but not nearly as many as now. Back then obbies and tycoons and stuff like that were the most common and were at their peak. That's not original at all.
At least it's not lagging.
That's a bit ironic considering the fact that old Roblox was capped at 30 FPS and today it's 60 FPS.
I'm most likely wrong, but the game didn't trip you there. Your lunch did.
I tested this to see if they're correct and now unfortunately they weren't. I jumped off several times to see if this would happen again and it didn't.
At least there was not R-through and those new blocky avatars in that time.
First of all, no one is forcing you to use R-through. Don't use it if you don't want to. And second of all, hardly anyone uses it in the first place. It's so rare.
It's fun cause there is no bullies and it's a chill one cause there are no toxic kids saying, haha noob.
Again, with these online datas or toxic players or whatever. Those always existed in Roblox and always will. And people who actually say haha noob, I'm pretty sure those were more common than online datas back then. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope my response to most old Roblox arguments people use are very clear. But we still have to recognize the fact that some of it is very subjective and it all depends on the preference of the person. Anyway, subscribe if you want more videos like this. For now, peace.